Hey guys, welcome back. Now I know it's been quite a while since I've done a video, but that's certainly not on purpose. I just haven't had the time or the motivation to do videos lately, but I think that's about to change. What I'd like to do is start making videos on a regular basis to try and expand this channel a bit. For example, I do a lot of projects around here, including building these pedal sets, so I'd like to experiment a bit with more project-oriented videos. Now, making these videos isn't exactly an easy thing to do, especially when you get into the editing process. That alone can take hours, so it just hasn't been a priority lately. Anyhow, we've got a couple new toys here in the shop, so here's a look at what we've recently acquired. Now, this is our brand new milling machine. We just purchased this a couple of weeks ago. Now, this is a Grizzly G0760. Now, if you check out Grizzly's website, this is the exact same machine as the G0705, but this one comes with a power feed, a very nice feature. Now, this is a round column mill, and it has one major drawback to other more common mills, such as a knee mill or a straight column mill. The problem is when you raise the entire head of the machine, it tends to rotate because there's no locking mechanism to keep the head pointed straight. Now, I attempted to make sort of a wishbone system in the back so that when you raise the head, it stays in position, but that didn't work out so well. Now, there's another way to keep the head straight, and it involves a laser pointer, which is attached to the side of the machine and pointed at the opposite wall. Now, the reason for the laser pointer is simple. When the head of the machine is down all the way, you make the head straight with the table, perpendicular, and then turn on the laser pointer. Then you make a mark on the wall where the laser is pointing. Now, after that's done, you raise the head of the machine while keeping a dial indicator on the head to make sure it stays in the exact same position relative to the table. And then once the head is raised to the height you want, you make another mark on the wall. Then all you need to do is draw a line between the two marks, and this new line will give you a reference for whenever you want to raise or lower the head and keep it in the exact same position, relative to the table, of course. Now, I also purchased a decent DRO for this machine. The DRO I was using before on the old milling machine just wasn't cutting it. It was a cheap thing, not very accurate. Now, this DRO is accurate to 2/10,000ths of an inch, and it uses magnetic scales instead of glass scales. Glass scales typically need to be purchased at the right length, as it's very difficult to cut glass scales to size. Now, with magnetic scales, you can just cut them to any size you need. I really love this thing. I love this thing. This is the CNC machine. This machine is an absolute beast. This is a 2-foot by 4-foot CNC router parts kit that I purchased a few months back. This thing has allowed us to cut entire sheets of aluminum all at one time, which is much faster than having to cut just one half, than flipping it over and then cutting the other half. It's also allowed us to use more material per sheet, which cuts down on waste. Now, this machine uses NEMA 34 motors for all axes, which you can see here they're just massive motors. Now, the spindle is a 3 horsepower 24,000 RPM spindle with 3 horsepower VFD. I also have a cooling system hooked up which shoots coolant water mixed together right onto the tool. Now, it's a misting system, but it doesn't fog up the entire shop. Very good system. Now, to run the machine, I use Mach 3. Now, Mach 3 has always been pretty stable. I can usually just hit a button, make sure it's cutting properly, and walk away for the most part. So here's the tumbler. Not much to say here. It tumbles. No, seriously, I think this is probably my second favorite machine in the entire shop. Once the parts have been cut, I take them over here to the tumbler, throw them in for about a half hour, take them back out, clean them up with water, dry them off, and they're done. They're ready for assembly. It's truly magnificent. So what else do I have around here? Well, I have a sander. I have a vise. I have another vise in the CNC room. I have a bandsaw. I have a table saw. I have a mini lathe that doesn't work anymore. And that leads me to this, my absolute pride and joy, my tool cart. So I saw this thing on Adam Savage's YouTube channel, Tested. Now he's got a video where he shows off his tool cart. Now he says that drawers are where tools go to die, and that is so true. Now I have a toolbox, but I'm usually going through drawers for days looking for things I need, and they usually get left out because I need them so often. So that's the reason I built this thing. Now, this is just pieced together with plywood and nails. It's not great quality. Now, I watched the video and I got the basics for the shape and the sides, and noticed that it had 3 separate containers for tools. It's got separations for things like brake clean and WD-40 and other liquid and cans that I need, like grease or whatever. And I also keep my brushes up there. Now on the sides you can see that I have wood attached that have a bunch of holes drilled into them for things like screwdrivers, Allen wrenches, scissors, or anything that will fit into these holes. I keep my hammers in here. I keep my wrenches and sockets that I normally use in here. Just about everything I use is right here on this cart, and I can move it to any part of the shop so that it's right next to me when I need a particular tool. Now, at the beginning of the video, you saw a 3D printer. Now, I actually have 2 3D printers. I have an Ultimaker Original Plus, which is a very accurate machine. I've already printed several parts for it since I've owned it. And I also recently purchased a Creality CR10, which is what you saw at the beginning of the video. Now, this thing is a monster. It has a 300mm by 300mm by 400mm build volume. So you can even print your own trash cans if you wanted to. I suppose I should have done that for all my failed prints. So guys, that about wraps it up. Now, like I said at the beginning, I'd like to start doing more videos like this for the channel. So every once in a while, I'd like to pick a project and do a video about it. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I have 2 announcements coming soon. I'm working on it, I promise. I know I said that the announcements were coming this week, but I just didn't have time this week to do it. So they're probably going to be next week, but I am working on it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.